Hey everyone, and welcome to Ratalyst. Today we're going to talk about dealing with difficult people. Difficult people can show up in many different forms. Some do all the talking, cutting people off and talking over others, but never actually listening. Some are lazy, messy, or unreliable, and others just have to get the last word into every conversation. Difficult co-workers may constantly demean what you say and try to make you look bad, while striving for power and the boss's attention. We all know these people. We are often placed in the situation where we have to deal with difficult and challenging people, and having to interact with these people can lead to stress and anxiety and drastically affect your mood. If you're working with anyone long enough, you are sure to encounter some conflict as you find a difference of opinion. If you don't deal with the situation, it will most likely get worse. Difficult people can be especially tough to deal with effectively if your self-confidence and self-esteem are low. The more you build these, the easier you'll find handling the situations you might find yourself in. So let's look at a few strategies for dealing with difficult people. The most important thing is to keep your cool and not be reactive, no matter how animated the difficult person may be. By practicing self-control, you can avoid escalating the encounter and will be able to use your better judgment to diffuse the situation appropriately. If you feel your blood boiling and think you're about to burst, try taking a deep breath and counting to 10. This small amount of time can really help your emotions settle enough to stop an outburst. No matter how senior we may be in an organisation or where we sit in the pecking order, we are all influenced by an emotionally driven brain. The effect of this is that when we are in a conflict or perceived danger, the brain releases adrenaline and cortisol, which cause the body to be hyped for a fight or flight response. Our ability to analyse subjectively, think clearly, and respond calmly are completely compromised. Another great diffusing tactic is to shift the focus back onto the difficult person. Often these people will be pointing the finger at you in an attempt to make you feel belittled and inadequate. Their entire emphasis will be to blame you and your behaviour, pointing out the problem without providing any constructive solutions. This stance is purely from a position of wanting to exert control and dominance over you. If your response is defensive, you are only giving the difficult person the upper hand and letting them feel power and control over you. An effective tactic to shift the focus and equalise power in the exchange is to ask constructive questions. Keeping calm and directing the focus to what that person might consider to be an effective solution will direct your response to a proactive one, rather than reactive or defensive. This strategy can really neutralise their dominance over you by redirecting the conversation, and you are attempting to take the lead for part of the exchange. When you're not asking them questions in return, actively listening to the difficult person's tirade will set the scene for you to take control in the coming moments. If you zone out and appear to not be giving them your attention, they will only press harder and more aggressively while pointing fingers at you. Using good active listening will show that you fully understand what they believe is a drastic issue, and then you're in a position to take control and look for a solution. Active listening involves actually listening to their words, rather than cutting them off or disagreeing mid-sentence. Nodding your head to acknowledge that you understand what they are saying. After they've made their point, repeat back the gist of what they said, from their point. Obviously this can come across sounding stupid, so you need to use a bit of common sense to summarise what they're getting at as you address their complaint. And again, ask questions to show that you've been listening. After applying these techniques, the difficult person will be more likely to feel that they've been heard and that it hasn't gone in one ear and out the other. That way, you're in a better position to shift the power of the conversation and put the spotlight back on them. Be extremely mindful of your body language. An interesting statistic to keep in mind here is that only 7% of communication are the words that you're actually saying. 38% is made up of your tone of voice and expression, while 55% is your body language. A quick way to further anger a difficult person is to display body language that says you don't even want to hear their problem. Try to face them while keeping your arms open. Being closed up with arms crossed can show that you're not open to their point of view, while being curled up and facing away can display a lack of confidence in yourself, giving off the vibe of a weaker person. Think predator versus prey with these difficult people, but rather than fighting, you're using subtle communication techniques to shift the power of the conversation and ultimately disarm them. Now, in some situations, you may initially have a great relationship with the person in question, but they're being difficult over a specific issue. There are two factors that make up a conversation: the topic being discussed and the relationship between the people having the discussion. Not being able to separate the two can lead to conflict and a breakdown in the relationship. By separating the person from the issue and keeping it from being personal, you will have a better chance of encouraging cooperation and keeping the respect of that friend. And always keep in mind, you may actually be your difficult person's difficult person. Try and keep it in perspective. As these techniques are essentially communication tools, because we're discussing how to deal with and diffuse difficult people, not punch their face in, right? It is extremely beneficial to take each one of these difficult situations and turn it into a learning experience. This way you are fine-tuning your skills at handling these situations and will become more adept in the long run. As exhausting as it may be trying to deal with a difficult person, asking yourself, what can I learn and take away from this experience, will help you gain at least one positive outlook from the encounter. One of my favourites, which can be extremely effective if used well and by the right person, is to inject some appropriately placed humour into an exchange with a difficult person. By not being reactive, but finding a humorous side to the conflict, you are able to show detachment from the issue and help to disarm the emotion of the other person. Of course, using inappropriate humour can have the opposite effect, so tread carefully. Humour really is a powerful communication tool, which can bring out the truth and opinions, while remaining cool, calm and collected. If your difficult person is somewhat of a bully, this can relate back to your self-confidence, and I encourage you to check out our Ratalyst video on self-confidence for further detail. Bullies will tend to target people who they see as being weaker and without much self-confidence. You may actually be displaying a weak exterior to those around you. Keep in mind that bullies are generally cowards and weak on the inside themselves, displaying a strong, overcompensated exterior to make up for their shortfalls. Often when someone stands up to a bully and exerts confidence, the bully will back down. The important thing to keep in mind is that their reaction and behaviour is usually about them, far more than it is about you or anything you've done. If you can manage to have empathy for the bully, you are opening your perspective on the situation and have far better judgment in what to do next. Compassion is an attribute of the strong and evolved, and it allows us to see deeper inside an issue and the person involved. Here's a quote from Tom Hiddleston to keep in mind. When people don't like themselves very much, they have to make up for it. The classic bully was actually a victim first. Of course, there are many times and situations where all the techniques in the world may not be of any assistance. In these instances, you may just have to walk away if necessary. Don't sabotage your career, but completely walking away and having as little to do with that person is an option. Sometimes these people can drag you down with them into negativity, and there's nothing wrong with removing yourself from this environment. Dealing with these people can leave you exhausted and carry over to your home life. In this case, it's not about winning an exchange, but removing yourself from that toxic environment. Being adept at dealing with difficult people is really an exercise in mastering the art of communication. By developing these techniques, you will find that many difficult people have less of an effect on you, and you stand to exert your own dominance and confidence with less stress and better relationships with the people around you. You are on your way to being the change and greater success in life. These are the strategies of leaders. Thank you for tuning into Ratalyst, everyone. We really appreciate your support. We hope that you got something out of this video, and if you would like to see more, please subscribe to our channel and we will continue working hard to provide great content for you guys. Thank you very much.